Good morning. I hope the Belgian beer hasn't been too harsh on you. I'm not a sales guy, so I'm not here to tell you that Spark is the best thing since sliced bread. You're more than capable of making up your own minds about that. Instead, I want to share with you how Spark was a vital tool for us to start from scratch to deployments at online retailers. Online retailers, yeah, there we are. Airports, airliners, banks, and even bakers. Now, to start with something else, as you might have guessed from the title, I am from the Netherlands. And for those of you who are not from around here, that's a little kingdom just a couple of kilometers up north from where you currently are. This is our royal family up here. We are a country that is well known for its flowers as well as its progressive policies on soft drugs. And if I may add to that, we now have more independent breweries than Belgium. Back to Spark. So, of course, Spark has these wonderful technical merits, like the ability to evolve rather seamlessly from initial experiments to actual deployments. But even more important, we think, or equally important, we think, is that it allows teams with a mix of technical backgrounds to work together proficiently and productively. To put it in words of a metaphor, it's like you are used to driving different types of vehicles, like a bike or a truck or a family car or even a Formula One racing car. But yet Spark allows you to get to racing speeds fast and safely. Now, that, my dear people, has allowed us to really spark a data-driven revolution back home. Now, I want to focus a little bit more, zoom in on the proficiency and the skill level, because I think those are key factors of our success. First and foremost, they are relative. Relative to the job at hand, to what you are to do in the team, your role. And take me, for example. I drive a car, a modest car, quite unlike the one I'm showing you over here. And I think I'm good at it. I can get from A to B rather safely and quickly without too many accidents. However, we back in the Netherlands, we also have this phenomenon called Max Verstappen. At just 18, he was the youngest Formula One driver ever. I've been driving cars for longer than this guy is alive, and he beats the hell out of me. Yeah? I can never reach his proficiency level. But the point is, I don't need to. I don't do Formula One driving. If I would do Formula One driving on the public highway system of the Netherlands, I would probably lose my license, my car, and be dragged to court. Now, the point I'm trying to make is that the same thing is there for teams. Not everybody is a data science rock star. We all have our jobs, and we need to do them well, be proficient at what we are. And Spark helps you with just that. Now, how? And I think there are many reasons. Flexibility, choice, but two words stand out. Data frame. It's the familiar interface to many of us with a background in Python, in R, in SQL, even in these statistical packets that some of us are used to. And added to that, you've got notebooks in your web browser or graphical IDEs if you really want to. And very important to old sods like me, you can even use Emacs or any other inferior editor of your choosing. Now, I think it's time for some examples. I'll start with this one. It's a Dutch airliner who asked us to help them build a recommender engine. And we start from scratch. That means no modern data infrastructure and hardly anybody within the company who really understood what Git meant. And yet we were able to go from that to deployment in just 8 weeks. And with a mixed team. One of the data analysts had only been exposed to C# and SPSS. Yet by using Jupyter notebooks together with PySpark, the team was able to get up to speed in a matter of weeks. And we could even demonstrate our recommendations in our notebooks. So the domain analysts and the domain specialists and the product owner could assess whether or not our recommendations made any sense. Also, we whipped up a very basic online infrastructure for them, which you can see over here. We were given the CMS that created the customer data, and we just spun up Spark and Hadoop as a service in the cloud. By the way, we had to battle heavily with this particular cloud provider because our data sets were not being retained, which is not a very good thing, of course. Next thing we did is we installed our open source clickstream collection framework called Devolte on the backend and on the website of the customer to collect the custom events that we needed or wanted to build our recommendations. We built them in notebooks, added tests, and deployed them behind the API of the customer. As a next example, I'm showing you the Dutch public broadcasting system, organization. Again, they asked us to build recommenders, this time for their new video-on-demand offering. Added to that, they also asked us to help them establish their big data science practice. And also here, from scratch, nothing there, to an installed Hadoop and Spark cluster on-premise this time, recommenders behind A/B testing, dashboards, and even load balancing in just 12 weeks. Again, a mix of people in the team. We had a BI specialist whom we could just let work the way he is used to because we use Spark to deploy tables in Hive. So he could SQL all that he wanted, build reports, build dashboards, whatever. And also we found out that the notebooks that our scientists created are actually great documented examples of the algorithms that we need to deploy. So our engineers could use them and translate Python and R to Scala if need be for performance reasons, and then deploy them to the cluster. And also, the data samples that we use to test and develop our algorithms are actually great input for our unit tests. Because, people, you need to test fast to prevent accidents. As we found out ourselves at this customer. Because at a certain point, our click-through rate went down. Hard. And we didn't even notice because we were not actively monitoring the thing. When we were made aware of it, we quickly started looking for the cause. And as it turned out, a person external to the team, of course, who was responsible for entering data about new programs and series in the database that we used as input, had decided to change the way he coded the information in the database. As a result, our input didn't contain the new programs and recommendations anymore. Hence, we didn't build recommendations to nor from them. And our users, the viewers, were not given any recommendations at all, hence wreaking havoc with our CTR. So if you take anything away from this talk, please do this: start to test soon. And Spark helps you with that, because you can already start unit testing on your laptop. Now, All this we do on laptops, in the cloud, or on existing big data infrastructure at the customer. And speaking of that, retrofitting is not always without problems. At a Dutch bank, for example, we had executors being spawned like wildfire, only to be killed instances later. After fiddling with yarn for a couple of hours, the problem went away, but we never really found out what caused them. As another example, we were at a Dutch classified advertising site where we had this particular data set for which we built an RDD. And after we applied a filter, the cluster would simply run out of memory. However, if we did a filter and then a repartition, everything went fine. So probably it had to do with uneven partitions on the cluster. And by the way, after we upgraded Spark and started using data frames, the problem went away as well. Now, it's about time for me to wrap up. So, we are a growing community of people with different technical backgrounds, and we need to work together productively, proficiently. We need to get to raising speeds fast and safely. Because I may be an old Emacs user, but that doesn't prevent me from wanting to drive a Formula One car. I simply don't want to run into the wall of the very first corner. And Spark helps me with just that. Thank you very much.